Gentleman named Granville Coggs was available to do presentations at Rotary Club. And I called him up and you know what he said? He said, "Oh, you have an iPhone, you're okay." That gentleman does things with that iPhone you wouldn't believe, and he's 87 years old. So we're just so pleased to have him here tonight. Dr. Coggs was born July 30th, 1925. So when World War II broke out, he was 16 years old. But by the end of the war, he had become a Tuskegee Airman and trained to fly on bombers right at the end of the war. Then he did something I consider pretty amazing. He went to Harvard Medical School and became a medical doctor, subsequently became a radiologist, and late in his career he even worked at Kennedy for a short period of time. And then, see, every decade he likes to do something new. And in his 70s he decided he would become a runner. And he did, and he won some gold medals. And I think his primary purpose tonight is to provide some inspiration to us, to lead a better lifestyle, but I'll leave it to him. In sum, this is a living piece of history and a great American, Dr. Granville Coggs.
This is my microphone. And it's working, so praise God. And I'm going to talk from here, and I'll start talking up. I was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, but I went to high school in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's an all-black high school, Dunbar High School. I finished there in 1942. 1999, I don't know how many years that, some 50 years later, the Dunbar Alumni Association had what they call a Legacy Award. This is in Little Rock. And that's where they give a Legacy Award to some of their outstanding students. Well, I was one of them. And there was another truly outstanding graduate at Dunbar High School. And his name is Samuel Proctor Massey Jr. And he's dead now. But he was named as one of the 50 outstanding chemists in the country. And I think he worked with Eli Lilly and so forth. But he also was noted that he was the first black to be on the faculty at the Naval Academy. And so at this Legacy Award, and they had us legacy people say something. And he came up and he said he was taught to make a speech, you had to do 3 ups. The first up is stand up so you can be seen, speak up so you can be heard, and shut up so you'll be appreciated. And so that's good advice. And I'm going to shut up, but not right now, but about 28 minutes from now. And you know when I'm getting ready to shut up, because I close the presentation with reciting Lincoln's Gettysburg Address without a script. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with certainly the way that it started 407 years ago. So when you hear me say that, you know I'm going to shut up in 2 minutes. So that's what you can look forward to. And secondly, I think he wants to give you a message.
No, I just want to assist you if you need assistance. I don't think you need assistance right now.
No, I really don't. But I really do, because at this point, I say thank you to several people. And I say thanks to God for bringing all of us here safely. And I want to thank Gary, because without him, he's in this, I wouldn't be here. And I want to thank our president for allowing me to make the presentation at this meeting. And secondly, after thanking these people, I want to thank my wife, Maud Coggs, who, she didn't like me to tell how long we've been married, but she allowed me to tell how long we've been friends. She came to Tuskegee Institute for her last 2 years of college in 1944, and we've been best friends since that time. She was with me yesterday at a presentation at the country club, I guess you call it, well, at Fort St. Houston. They have a golf course, and we had a presentation to the retired officers, widows and wives of that group. And she came with me to that. And she's my head coach, and I talked about it yesterday, but particularly, she's the athlete, and she is my head coach. So what she's the head coach. But I mentioned that at Tuskegee, she ran the 50-yard dash and the 100-yard dash, and she played varsity basketball, and she graduated magna cum laude, so she was a scholar athlete. But anyway, I thank her. She's not here physically, but she's here, and we're a team. So this is a team. And after thanking her, I want to thank all of you for coming here tonight, because already you figured out I'm a ham. And a ham needs an audience. So I want to thank you for coming. And I appreciate the introduction that Gary gave, and I also introduced myself, that I'm a walking, talking, handshaking, autograph signing, photographic companion, Congressional Gold Medal, Tuskegee Airmen. And I want to mention here, I've shaken hands with some of you as you came in, but to talk about on my handout, which I'll talk about a little bit later, I guess the 34 pages describe the people who I have shaken hands with over a 60-year period. And starting back in 1952, I shook hands with a young preacher from the South who was known in Boston at that time as Martin. And you all know Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was a graduate student at Boston University, and I was a third-year medical student at Harvard Medical School. We owned a house with the GI Bill of Life. That's what I got out of World War II, among other things. And he came to the house to study with other graduate students at Boston University. Cut to the chase. To 2012, August 19th, here in San Antonio. Shook hands with another famous fellow named King. Mother called him Riley B. King, but I'm sure you all know him as B.B. King. And I showed some of you the pictures that took with B.B. King on August 19th. So I'm a handshaker, and what I want to say, if there's anybody here who would like to shake hands with somebody who's shaking hands with Dr. Martin Luther King and B.B. King, here I am. So, that's my message. And what am I talking about? That I put a handout at the table, and because my topic is how to live to become 87 and healthy. And I'm 87, and I'm saying the thing is relative that I'm healthy. And this is the message that I want to give. I want to go through this little handout. The first page, particularly at the very bottom of the page, it has my website. And I hope that you'll take a look at my website. I think it's unique, but it tells more about that. Well, as a matter of fact, I made a presentation to the San Marcos Rotary. And the president asked me, I would hope you would give me a condensed biography, because on your CV, with 23 pages. I don't know what to put down. Well, if you're interested, you can read those 23 pages and some other unique things. And on page 2 is the index to the DVD we're going to show, which is a total of 18 minutes. In the middle of it, we make a brief pause in the DVD because I want to show you how I played that bucket. It's parked over there. That's that musical instrument that it takes a musician to play it. So we're going to show you that. And that's what the index is about. And pages 3 and 4 is about the people I've shaken hands with. And you've heard this story, most important. Started in 52 and ended in 2012. And on the final sheet is a page that I've already autographed. So if anybody wants my autograph, it's already there. If you'd like me to write your name on this page, I'd be happy to do so. So back to, I'll also share, I left Kaiser Hospital in 2003. This is one of the first times that I was aware that when I get excited, my nose runs, and my nose is running. So there we are. So I'm appreciating and enjoying being here. So back to page 1. This is the main message about, I used to think that genes was really what determined, I understand that house flies live about a day or something, and cats live 9 years and so forth. I think that people are scheduled to live about 100 years. Elephants and turtles and whales live lots longer than that. But believing that we human beings are scheduled for about 100 years, that's if you have a lifestyle. And I used to think that genes was the most important thing. Now, my father lived to be 105, I had an aunt who lived to be 108, but my mother lived to be 77. And I really believe that lifestyle made a difference. She was reared by her aunt that lived to be over 100. But the bottom line is that, yes, your genes are a biggie, but number 2 is aerobic activity. And this is what, there's a book Kenneth Cooper wrote about aerobics. And to summarize that, I got out of it, aerobic activity is any activity where you're using all of your arms and legs and do it long enough so that you sweat. And the YMCA in San Antonio, they've got t-shirts that said, sweat often, live longer. And I believe it. And I would say, it won't happen though unless you schedule it and do it. I recommend it. And I don't follow it all the time, but I recommend doing it first thing of the day so that other things don't get in the way. We could teach a whole long, you remember, scratch that. but that's what I'm doing because I believe that the aerobic lifestyle makes a lot of difference. And the way that things are, after I leave here tonight, I'm going to swim tonight because we have one swimming pool. My wife, we like different temperatures. So she swims first when it's relatively cool and then turns on the heater for me, and so then that's later in the day or later in the night. But anyway, daily aerobic activity is the biggie for this lifestyle that contributes to health, and I believe in it. Number 5 is really the biggie, because it says don't do drugs, hard drugs and cigarettes. I could preach a long time, but I don't know why I keep saying this. I don't have a script you know. So what comes out, it comes out of my heart. The biggie about longevity, how long we gonna live, is that in cigarettes, you cut right to the chase. Because I'm not gonna ask smokers to raise their hands, but we don't want nobody to be, shall we say, embarrassed by being identified as being a smoker. And most of you are not smokers, I just know that, you know, statistically. But the whole bit is that if you're not smoking, don't start. Because it's an addiction that I think that if I had really ever got hooked, that it'd be hard to break it. But it's important. And when did I quit smoking in the 3rd grade. I went to the training school. So I'm fortunate that most of my life has been that of a non-smoker. And the cut right to the chase is that if you are a smoker and continuing to smoke, that you will die 15 years sooner than your non-smoking colleagues. That's the biggie. And 15 years out of 100, well, instead of living to be 100, you die at 85. So there we are. We could go on and on about these plans. So I'm glad that I passed out this handout to take it with you and to read. And then we're going to move right to page 2. And I'm going to ask my colleague, we're going to see this DVD. You've got the outline. And good luck. While it's waiting to come up, and we have seen it. There it comes. But I think, oh yeah, I'm impressed. Oh, what do we do about sound? What do we do about sound? Absolutely different. But while I was talking, I'll tell you what this is. This is the first 5 minutes of a DVD, and I didn't check out the sound part. Well, I will tell you about it.
Oh my gosh! So sorry.
Hey, there it goes. This is about Tuskegee Airmen in World War II. And I'd like to add to the sound. That's World War II. There we go. Did it?
We have sound today.
We were here last week, and this shows President Bush saluting Tuskegee Airmen. There is Robin Roberts walking along with, and I would ask, is Roxanne in the house?
Just turn it off and turn it on.
Oh, and she says turn it off and turn it on. And here comes Roxanne. And how about that?
You want to go back to the start, or?
Yeah, all right, so using the back part of it.
Just reverse it.
I think is the reversing. Yeah, issue is reversing, and if I were good at sauce, shoe. Oh yeah, there he is. We're getting close to the beginning. This is her father.
Who's father?
And part of one of the things. This is almost, yeah, this is close enough to the beginning. Yeah, press play.
Mechanics, and it just took a team effort to make this Tuskegee experience happen. And I had a chance to spend a few minutes with someone from here and let them know what this day means to these heroes.
A band of brothers who volunteered to fight for a segregated America, putting country first, though it treated them like second-class citizens.
Fighting for our country wasn't particularly difficult, but fighting for equality was more difficult.
The Tuskegee Airmen would go on to fly more than 200 combat missions under heavy enemy fire. Today, Tuskegee Airmen are hailed as heroes, not just for African Americans, but for all. Among those heroes, my late father, Colonel Lawrence E. Roberts, who once wrote, "I will forever be grateful to God for having given me honor and privilege to serve the land of my birth as a Tuskegee Airman." In 2007, the Tuskegee Airmen received the Congressional Gold Medal, and today they are honored guests at the inauguration of the first African-American Commander-in-Chief. I recently had the chance to catch up with several Tuskegee Airmen at the Smithsonian's Air and Space Museum.
What does it feel like to be here in Washington, D.C. at the invitation? You were invited.
It's a great honor for me to see somebody I've never seen. I would realize this in my lifetime of African American. And this is wonderful to me. And I'm here so I can shake hands with Obama and hug Michelle.
When you asked that question a few seconds ago, a tear came out of this eye because I always look forward to this coming to pass for the next generation. And here I am looking at it and taking part in it. What a feeling, tremendous feeling.
One word. Unimaginable. Unimaginable. And that's it.
You're the original I can. Yes, we can. You're the original. Yes, we can. You're a mechanic, don't you?
Right now, aircraft mechanic. When I got to Tuskegee, like we had to go, this is the game stage, and that he came from the ground up and made it possible.
This group was selected the best caliber of black males in the country at that time. That's a Tuskegee Airman.
That is, you're right about that.
That's it.
Though they earned respect in the air, the airmen faced the harsh realities of racism on the ground. But a deep love of country gave them the courage to fight on and help pave the way for this moment in history.
What piece of advice, when I asking to you this, piece of advice you'd want to give Barack Obama?
Just keep on doing what he's doing. That's what I would say. Keep on doing what you do.
Remain calm. He's the coolest cat I've ever seen.
And what would you want to say to him?
You have a good mind, a bright mind, and I like your attitude. It's wonderful. Thank you for doing. God bless you.
Of wisdom from men who've seen this nation's darkest hours, helped preserve its greatest freedoms, and now witness one of its greatest achievements.
I tell you, the Tuskegee Airmen, they're cool cats themselves. My father retired as a full colonel in the United States Air Force, and this was an eagle that he wore on his uniform, and I will have it clutched in my hand for the inauguration. And there was something that he told me. He said that he was so grateful that President Truman ended segregation in the military. And he said at that moment, when you could be neighbors and just come together, that the Tuskegee experiment, which was called an experiment in the beginning to see if these men had the courage and the intelligence, he said the Tuskegee experiment became the American experience. And that's what was so important to him, that he was proud to serve the land of his birth as a Tuskegee Airman.
Well, I know your mom is going to be here, and we just have to believe he knows.
Oh, he does.
That he knows.
Yes.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
On your mark. Set.
Go fast, Granville. Go fast, Sam.
And this is former Mayor Henry Cisneros of San Antonio. He runs the 400 meter. He was this track was Alamo Heights High School track where this was. And my trainer was running along beside me. And this fella, his mother was doing the video. And she first started videoing me, and he was in video. This was a windy day. I didn't realize how windy it was until I saw this video. This is an extended family. Her name is Virginia Valdez, and she's my rabbit from the last 100 people. What I just said was one more day. Looking forward to 2 more this afternoon.
Let's go, Granville! Go, Mr. Coggs!
That's my wife right there. You see her again. This is my wife, Maud. Look what she's doing. Her is my competitor.
Gold medal for the 400. Here's the next gold medal.
After we put on the two gold medals, I hope they stop.
That's right. Now the next one. Yes. And this was for the 200 and the 105. There we go. I like the medals. I'm going to zoom in on them. And then I'm going to fade out.
That's right on there. Stop it.
Put the lights
Have the
on.
lights up. Because what the next thing, the next 3 episodes of the DVD, she'll be playing the mom of the DVD. The recording, well, you can't quite hear these old bass notes as much, and so I've got this instrument which I was first given in 1956. That was 56 years ago, and I guess how long I've been playing that. How this device works. It's a number 3 wash tub and a real D-string and this whole handle. And I got a notch here which is placed right there. And you have to be in, I'm glad I've got a wall here. I'm going to move it up close to the wall so that I don't fall off this bucket. And basically, you change the pitch. This has a 1 octave range, and you can hear it. And I'll give you now so that we can put it on straight.
Well, thank you. You did awesome. 3 gold medals. Congratulations.
Oh, this is really going to be a good. And I'll help with some of the recorded sounds. And of course, this record is not exactly slow. Sounds much better. A group.
Hello, young entertaining desert, say what?
This is taken from the living room of our house, another corner of the living room.
And now, I'd like to present the group, Mr. B.
Let the good times roll. We showed the 2010 Rotary. This was a unique event because it was January 1st, 2010. Roseville Parade event running for over 100 years. This is the first time that all of the members on the float were black. And there were 16 original Presbyterians that were, and I was one of those 16. And since that time, one has died. But the other 15 still going.
His courageous landing of a passenger jet on the Hudson proved he is truly not above the rest. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, Captain Jesse Sullivan.
He came by and shook hands with all of us the day before the parade.
Happy New Year, America. And now, let the parade begin.
He is.
He's ready, boy.
Yeah, he's not gonna skateboard this year though. Sucker's gonna snowboard.
The mayor's award for most outstanding city entry goes to West Covina. No one exemplifies the cut above the rest more than the 16 heroes who are honored on this float. The West Covina Rose Float Association presents Tuskegee Airmen a cut above. 60 outstanding gentlemen representing nearly 1,000 members of America's first corps of black military airmen. The official Tuskegee Airmen website says that these heroes, and indeed they were, fought two enemies, the Axis powers and racism.
I got to meet all of them yesterday out at the float bar.
Did you?
And listen to these stats, you guys. The Tuskegee Airmen flew more than 15,000 combat missions in World War II. They shot down 112 enemy planes. They destroyed another 150 that were on the ground. They actually sunk a destroyer with a P-47 machine gun. And you know what? They never lost a single bomber. How about that?
It's a tremendous story.
Now that pair of red-tailed Mustang planes are replicas of the aircraft flown by the Tuskegee Airmen. They're crafted from carnation feathers, silver dollar eucalyptus, silver leaf, and poppy seed. And this is the winner of the Mayor's Trophy, Most Outstanding City Entry. Congratulations, West Covina. You did it again, folks.
Yes, beautiful.
Really.
The Ark of the Covenant.
And the next shows my two sisters. They're now, she's now 91 and she's 89. They came out on that cold day to see me at the Rose Bowl parade. And we can stop it right there and have the house lights up, because we're moving into, we talked about at the beginning, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And why would a Tuskegee Airman be talking about the Gettysburg Address, which Lincoln delivered 149 years ago? Well, here's what happened. 2 days before Thanksgiving in 2010, I was in the main public library in Berkeley, California. And the reason I was in the library is that my wife was with our youngest daughter shopping in Berkeley. The daughter had gone to the University of California, right back to Berkeley. I thought that was...
Nothing, Bill, no. You can continue.
I thought the girl was saying, shut up!
Go on, please.
Well, I can tell your hearing's very well.
That says it all. Okay, I'm in the library. And why I was in the library, because this was a warm place for me to be while they were out shopping. And on the second floor of the library, I saw a bronze plaque, and above it, bust of Abraham Lincoln. And I thought, this must be Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And so I went over to read it, and even though I had to memorize it when I was in Granville High School 70 years ago, I'd forgotten all the rest of it. But then the words seemed to have more meaning than they had 70 years ago. And then another thought came to me that I should memorize it so that I can deliver it as I'm doing now with no script. And at that time, I thought, well, I'm a Tuskegee Airman. I can memorize it. Probably take me a year, but if I stick at it, a year from now I should be able to do it. Well, it didn't take a year. It took to Valentine's Day, and I can remember these days because they're associated with significant things like Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, I memorized it, and I saw that the lady that took that video of me running those times in our home, she videoed me delivering the Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. That was on February 14th, 2011, and posted it on YouTube. So if you'd like to see it on YouTube, an easy way to see it is go to Google and then search for Google and search for Gettysburg Address, Granville, Coggs. And it'll be a 4-minute presentation of Gettysburg Address. So that's going to be my thing. You know, I'm the Tuskegee Airman that delivers Lincoln's Gettysburg Address with no script, no memory assistance, nothing on my hands. So I haven't decided this is going to be my thing. I decided also I need to know more about the Gettysburg Address than I know. You know, why was it? Where was it? Well, online today, I learned some things that you probably know, but you may not know, that I want to share with you. I learned that more men were killed in the Civil War than in all the rest of the wars that we've been in, from the Revolutionary War through Iraq and Afghanistan. 600,000 men were killed. And at the Battle of Gettysburg, which was a big battle, like in July of 1883, there were about 100,000 men on each side. General Robert E. Lee was leading 100,000 troops of the Confederacy at that point. And casualties were high, 30,000 casualties, of which 7,500 men were killed. And the cavalry was active. 5,000 horses were killed. And they had to bury these bodies somewhere. And they buried them, they buried them where they fell, at Gettysburg. Well, there were no national cemeteries before, but from July of 1883 to November, the works were in way to establish the first Veterans Cemetery. And this was at Gettysburg. And so at the dedication, this was a big event. 15,000 people came. The governors of 6 states came. And they had the president of Harvard University give the main ovation. And he spoke for 2 hours. And after he spoke for 2 hours, President Abraham Lincoln came to this podium and spoke for 2 minutes. And this is what he said. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We have met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause of which they gave the last great deal of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. So said Abraham Lincoln on November 19, 1863. That concludes my presentation, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you. I'm going to shut up and sit down.
Let me, first of all, we really appreciate you coming all the way here to Floresville. And one of the things that I really appreciate is not only the respect and loyalty that you have for this country, but I have a daughter in the Army, and she's a sergeant, and I really appreciate when it comes to the armed forces for protecting the country. Sometimes we don't appreciate what we have. And it's gentlemen like yourself that realize that we have a great future. On behalf of, this came from the restaurant, so on behalf of the restaurant, we'd like to offer you a token appreciation. No, you can put it in your phone.
And one other thing, Dr. Coggs, now you said you're going to give this to your wife.
Yes.
But this is an honorarium from this Rotary Club, so that you can get more materials for your presentation.
Thank you. And my wife's going to be, she's going to briefly, I don't know how to say it, but I'll be appreciated. Thank
you. Now this concludes our meeting, unless you all have any questions for the young gentleman here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The movie Red Tails, it was based on the Tuskegee Airmen. Did y'all have any input in that movie?
Ask me, did I have any input?
In the movie?
The simple answer is no.
They didn't ask for any, like,
They didn't ask me, but there is another movie, and I'll stand up. The movie called Red Tails, and it was done by Lucas Films. He's done a documentary of Double Victory, and I hope you'll see it, because that is a documentary and it's not a movie. And they did consult other Tuskegee Airmen of my vintage. One reason that I'm at the tail end of Tuskegee Airmen that were trained. But in this movie, it's called Double Victory, and it's based on Tuskegee Airmen fought two wars. Wars against our enemies abroad and racism here. And one big thing that's shown in there is shown how that after having done all these, shall we say, miraculous things that are shown, returned to this country after the war, they're still treated second class. Not allowed to go to the White Officers Club. And about 100 tests. And as a matter of fact, one of the fellows who was inducted to the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame the other night, he was part of that movement. That's Jerry Hodges. While they were there at Cobham Field, I was back at Tuskegee Army Airfield learning how to be a military pilot. I'd already been trained as an air gunner. I'd already been trained as a bombardier. And what had happened is that the experiment, can they fly fighter planes, was all passed. So now let's see if we can make an all-black medium bomber outfit. And this was what in the process. And so when I came through, I was slated to be a bombardier. And before you could be a bombardier, you had to qualify as an air gunner. So after gunnery school at Tyndall Field, Panama City, Florida, went to Dillon Army Airfield, where I graduated as a bombardier in January '45. And at that part, as far as the military, how things worked out, they had trained more black bombardiers, more black navigators than they needed, but they needed more black pilots. Those pilots were washing out. And so if you were qualified, and I was qualified, you could go, as I did, from bombardier school to pilot training. And so I was really in pilot training in Tuskegee when the red tail fighters were doing all these wonderful things. And one of the things, George Lucas is deep in my heart. And I went to the last annual meeting of the Tuskegee Convention, which was, this year was in Las Vegas, and George Lucas was there. And I took a picture of him, all white hair. But also I saw a book taken, because he was Tuskegee Airman 20 years ago, all black hair. So part of the story of the Red Tails, it showed a Tuskegee Airman with a drinking problem. I didn't know of any Tuskegee Airmen with drinking problems. And whether that, but my feeling is that I don't think that George Lucas would have put it in a movie if he didn't believe it, that particular thing happened. So people, they ask me about Tuskegee Airmen. I'm a Tuskegee Airman. Where were you in World War II? And they knew about Africa and southern Italy and over Berlin. I said, I was in South America. They said, South America? Where in South America? Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas. So that's my input.
Who else has a question? Any other questions? Okay, well that concludes the meeting, and you're welcome to take photographs. So I'm pretty sure it's more of a pleasure. Thank you.
There you go.